Hi everyone, this is the update for July 7th, kind of all day. I guess Dan was told yesterday to show up at 8 a.m. to see the doctor, and so I don't know, he got there somewhere around 8:30 I think, and briefly talked to the doctor sometime around 10. And then he came over here to talk to me, and we kind of, he told me the gist of what the doctor said from what he showed him of the report from the CT scan. And it sounds like, yeah, he's got improvement in some areas and then worsening in others. There is definite fibrosis to the bottom, like to the bases, pardon me, of his lungs. And just a bunch of other stuff that's happening in his lungs from having the areas of consolidation, the areas of fibrosis that's kind of making things tug over to other sides. I guess the chambers of his heart are normal size. His pulmonary vessels a little enlarged. His spleen is enlarged slightly. But we didn't, so we went and spent the rest of the day at the hospital and stayed there because the doctor told him he would be leaving at 6 o'clock. So we spent the whole day there and did not get to speak to the doctor. So that was a real drag because we'd spent all day just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Mike had he was looking comfortable for most, but he wasn't awake while I was there. Dan said he was awake for him in the morning, and I don't know. I won't speak for Dan's side because I wasn't there. But anyway, so we didn't get. Dan and I talked about seeking out transplantation as the next alternative. So I have a friend who sent along a really great article or research that talked about 3 post-COVID transplant patients, kind of outlined a bit about them. Then I also know that there were 4 post-COVID double lung transplants done in Vancouver at Vancouver General in the last 2 months, and 1 done in Ontario, in Toronto. Everything I've read sounds like very similar kinds of stories to Mike's. The other people actually seem to be quite worse off. I don't know. One fellow was on VV ECMO for over 100 days. They seem to have worsening things that have happened than Mike has had. And it does talk in the article about the muscle wasting, the neuromuscular wasting. So again, these are things that I'm hoping we can discuss with the transplant team, and I actually am hoping that we can consult with the transplant team in Vancouver, such that if Alberta doesn't want to do it, that maybe there's a way we can send this info along and maybe get it done in Vancouver. If he becomes a candidate for the list. So that's where we stand. Really nothing happened today. Mike yesterday he had a really rough day. He had I think I mentioned he had the CT, then he had a central line kind of done, and it was done wrong, so they had to redo it, and turning and stuff. And so he's had to go up on his on the ECMO back to 100%, and then on the ventilator to 80%. So there's not more room. There's a little bit of room to move upward, but not much. But as he settled, he's come back up in his saturations. So again, I think what's happening is when he's turned, and if he's turned very aggressively, he desats, and the pain and all of that. So I mean, that only makes sense. His blood pressure would go up. Would become very tachypnic and tachycardic and stuff like that. And they always turn him they turn him both ways, but when he's laying with his right side down, he tends to desat. Now, I have to qualify that, because he tends to when people are aggressive with it. Tonight he was laying towards his right side, and he was still setting at 94% on the monitor. And earlier, the ECMO specialist said that the sensor was not correlating well with the blood gases, and that the sensor was actually lower than the blood gases. So when he was sitting at 88% on the monitor, he was actually at 90 to 92% in his blood gases. So he's actually doing better. So my guess is just, he has to recover from having the CT, being weighed, having all of that stuff done. So, yeah, so he had one episode today of being, I'm not sure what happened. It was after the turn, he became very tachypnic and tachycardic and all that stuff. And the nurse there today was not very forthcoming with any information. She would, seemed to really treat both Dan and I with she was very stern and not, I don't know, I don't really know why she was like that, but kind of talked to me like I was a bit of an idiot. I wanted to ask her to remember why she went into nursing, but I didn't. Anyway, so I'm kind of, in a way, I think it's better that the talk with the doc didn't happen with the two that we had on as part of Mike's team today, because I just think it would have been different. Like, Dan and I wouldn't have felt maybe very supported. Like, and Dan told me that she didn't seem to be willing to suction Mike when he was coughing and all of that kind of stuff. And no wonder he's deciding he's got a bunch of crap down there. So, and it's been coming up and into his mouth. And then actually when they rolled him over, he had probably I'm going to say a good 10 cc's, if not more, run out of his mouth when they turned him over. So there's stuff coming up, and they have to really be watching and suctioning him. And I mean, I'm not saying go down there, not down the trach every 2 minutes, but it's coming up into his mouth. And when I got there this evening, it was actually bubbling, and I was like, just suction him. And then every time he'd cough, there'd be more coming up. And anyway, so there's lots of stuff that needs to come up, and no wonder, right? Need to figure out a way to get that stuff out. So usually a bronchoscopy would be one of the ways, but I'm not really sure what the plan is, but I think he needs to rest and recover from that busy day yesterday, and then we have to talk to the doctor tomorrow. So, please leave with us that, we will have what we need behind us to get him on the transplant list for a double lung. And whether that's here or Vancouver, don't know, but that's our alternative. So, like, our last. And his BMI is 33, 34 now, I guess. So he's under the 36 BMI, and probably even less now, because they increased the Lasix. So he's not going to be positive for fluid. So yeah, that's it. I love you all. We'll keep you updated as to what happens tomorrow, and Dan and I might have the fight of our life, or maybe we won't. I'm hoping if we arm ourselves with enough information that we can be successful here. So if you are good at doing research and can do some research to send to us tonight or early in the morning, for us to look through for post-COVID double lung transplants that have been done in the world, that patients that have been on VV ECMO or heart and lung ECMO. I would greatly appreciate it if you send those our way, so that, you know, as well as if you're reading it with a bit of a summary, so that we can go in with, you know, really having done our work, and with the support of you all to help us show them that Mike is in fact a good candidate. Love you all. Stay safe. I should mention one more thing. I don't have the bags under my eyes that I normally have, because I tried this product that says it gets rid of bags and crepey areas. I didn't put it very well here, but I think it actually works, but it feels tight. But anyway, so if I don't look as tired, it's not because I'm not tired. It's I have glue essentially under my eyeballs. Anyway, that's it. We'll talk tomorrow. Thanks for all the support.